Welcome to Big Bites with Caroline Collins. I'm serving up deep conversations with influential people. My hope is to leave you feeling inspired and motivated. Now let's dig in. Hi friends, welcome to Big Bites with Caroline Collins. Look where I'm sitting. I'm in my house and I've been working on creating a set for Big Bites. I am the worst DIY person ever. I am not crafty. I know how to make things look decent, but I don't know how to make them look like a vibe. So I'm trying my best. I got this sign, Big Bites. I put up that wallpaper, the peel and stick. There's a huge chance that these curtains might fall. Of course, you can only see this if you're watching on YouTube. So I highly suggest that you go over to Big Bites with Caroline Collins, like, subscribe, comment, anything that you can do to help us gain popularity on YouTube. I would love you guys for that. But I'm trying to make this look as cool as possible. Luckily, my sister, who I've had on the show before, she's coming to town soon. She's already like, you got to get rid of the dresser. I'm like, what do I put? Like, I need something else there. We need some dimensions. So, we are trying. Let me just say that starting a podcast has been so much more work than I could have ever anticipated. And to be honest, I fell behind big time this week. Work was really, really busy. I had made plans to play some golf, and I was out on shoots and putting together stories and working long hours. And the podcast just took a back seat. And I was so stressed about it. I was like, no, we were gaining such good momentum. But you know what? That's okay. Life happens. So now it's the weekend and I am getting back on track, and I'm going to do my best to make sure that I have a good system in place to make sure that I'm pushing out these episodes as quickly as possible while I have a really busy schedule on top of it with my full-time job and other social media. So thank you guys so much for continuing to support the show and me in this adventure. It really has been a week. It has been a week. But it was really nice to slow down and record this episode with Henderson of Rainbow of Hope, Texas. This is a nonprofit organization that brings people with disabilities to their ranch to work with horses as a form of therapy. And they've just launched a veterans program as well. So now veterans are coming out to the ranch. It's all right here in Missouri City, Texas. That's in the Houston area. And the reason why I wanted to have her on the show is because she has been open about her story of receiving a clear message from God in a dream. And she has now turned that dream, that calling, into reality. And I just think that this is a great message for any woman or for anybody that feels like they have a calling to do something and you haven't done it yet. Take a note from Ann from Rainbow of Hope, Texas. She really put her faith in God and her trust in God and gave up everything and started this nonprofit organization. And I related to her because I was like, I have felt this strong calling to start a podcast. I feel like I can really impact people's lives in a positive way. And finally, I just did it, and it's been hard. And in comparison to what she did, this was absolutely nothing. So it was really encouraging for me. And so I hope it's encouraging for all of you who are listening. So I hope you enjoy. And I hope that, it gives you that encouragement that you need to make that next step into what you feel like you need to be doing. Ann Henderson, welcome to the Big Bites podcast. I'm so happy that you're here.
Thank you, Caroline. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited. You have no idea.
Oh my goodness. Well, Ann is the founder of Rainbow of Hope, Texas. And this is such an amazing organization. When you reached out to me, I was like, absolutely, you're coming on and we are going to share all that you guys are doing and what you guys do, because I don't know if I've ever heard of an organization doing what you do.
I don't think there is, Caroline. This literally stemmed from a dream that God gave me about 35 years ago. You remember when we had flip phones? I think you're old enough to remember that, right? So
oh, yeah.
God gave me this very profound dream, and I wrote my dream word for word in my flip phone, and I sent it to a friend of mine to say, hey, hold on to this, because this dream was crazy. It is so real. What it was God showed me a blue horse arena with a silver star, and then he whispered in my ear, Rainbow of Hope. So he used my vision and my hearing to let me know, and one day you're going to do something for a forgotten group of people. And literally, Caroline, this was like 35 years ago. I had this dream and I carried it in my heart like so many years, knowing that like one day it was so real that like one day it was going to happen. And then so the story goes, in 2013, my husband and I were having a conversation, and he said, Ann, wouldn't it be cool if one day we had a little piece of property and you did something with the special needs community? Because I'm a former ABA therapist. I used to work with children with autism, and those children are now adults. And then Jack could do something with horses, because I didn't know anything about horses. Zero. I said, yeah, honey, that would be awesome. So in 2013, we sold our house, and we found actually this house in Missouri City. I'll back up. We found this house in Missouri City on the golf course. And I know you like golf. So I don't know anything about golf, but this was a really good area. I mean, I literally was picking out the paint in the kitchen. I was visualizing my daughter in the backyard with her friends and all that. And basically what happened was we went to the closing table, but we never closed. We never funded for the sale of our home. But see, that was God slamming that door shut, because he didn't want us in Missouri City on the golf course. He wanted us out here. So what happened was, my husband and I used to ride motorcycles. His name is Jack. And one day, shortly after all that happened, we sold our house again, had to put it back on the market, sold it again. And he said, hey, Ann, I got this place to show you. And I don't even think he remembered about my dream. I mean, it had been so many years. He's like, I got this place to show you. So one Sunday afternoon, Jack and I hopped on our motorcycles. We used to ride bikes, and I had a FZ6R and he had a FJ. It's street bikes, and we rode down Norris Road, and there it was. I looked up, and it was the Blue Horse Arena with the silver star, and the hair stood up on the back of my neck and my arms, and I was like, I looked at Jack, I almost fell off my bike, and I was like, oh my gosh, Jack, we're meant to be here. Here we are.
That is wild. Talk about a sign. So what is now, you finally got this property, like all these years after you had this dream, and then you got your property, and then you remembered from your dream that you saw Rainbow of Hope, Texas. That's the name of the organization now. So how did it start up after you ended up getting the property? And what was the process after that?
I mean, I don't even know where to begin, but I will tell you this. The property is divided. It's 32 whole acres. We own the house, the lake, and 18 acres. The part that I saw in my dream, we lease from a businessman. He bought it. So I would literally be walking upstairs in my house, looking out the window and see this Blue Horse Arena going, God, what are you doing? We're here, but well, remember, I told you I didn't know anything about horses. So I had to learn about horses. So what happened was that right over here was leased to two young men and one of them was a barrel racer, and they had 14 horses that they moved in over there. So over the course of 2 years, I had to learn about horses, and I didn't know anything about them. So yeah, so I was learning about horses, and then and I will tell you, even though that you have an assignment on your life, there's always going to be challenges. There's always going to be obstacles. It's not going to be easy, and it's not going to happen in your time. My daughter, when we moved out here, she was 17. She did not want to be here. At first she did, like the first 5 minutes. And at 17, she started doing school online, graduated, and moved out. Caroline, I was devastated. My 17-year-old daughter gone. So basically, I gave up leaving for this dream that was just so real that like I just knew that, you know, God was up to something with this. And so, anywho, my daughter now, fast forward, is 27 and just had a beautiful baby boy named AJ. He's 5 months old, and he is the love of my life. I'm a Gigi.
Oh, it's full
And
circle. So obviously your relationship with your daughter is good now,
oh, it's
all these years later.
amazing. Yeah,
10
it's
years
amazing.
later. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
it's
my goodness. Where were you guys living before you moved to
in
Missouri City?
before we've always been in Missouri City. I grew up
Oh,
in
okay.
Lamarck. I grew up in Lamarck, and I worked at Moody Gardens in Galveston. That's where I met
Oh,
my husband, Jack. And my husband is, we wouldn't be here if it weren't for him. And I'll tell you that. So basically, back to the story, I learned about horses. One day he called me at the call center where I was working, and he said, "Ann, the guys are gone. We have the opportunity to lease that side of the land." And that was over 7 years ago.
wow.
So what happened was, Caroline, we started what's called Silver Star Horse Farms, and we started boarding horses because we needed a way to pay our bills. And even just to get our first boarding horse took us about 4 months. I'm like, oh
Wow.
my gosh, here we are. We got to pay for all of this, and we can't even get one freaking horse over here.
Well, and I think that that's what a lot of people don't understand. Everybody thinks so. Missouri City is an area, for people who don't know, in the Houston area. It's not far from downtown Houston, is what I'm trying to explain. I mean, it's a little bit of a drive, but there's not everybody's out here riding horses and stuff in the Houston area.
No.
It's just not like that at all. And I think that that's a huge misconception. So you actually had to what did you do? Like put out ads like, we are boarding horses, or how did that
Yeah,
work?
we went to all the feed stores. We took pictures of our property. I mean, I wish you could come out here and see it. It's
I
absolutely
know.
beautiful. Over the course
Oh,
of, since we've been here 10 years, in 2013, the Lord has shown me upwards of 104 rainbows over our property.
104 rainbows over your property.
104. And I've counted them, and I'd go on Facebook Live and I'd document it and I'd take pictures and all these things because, you know, there's many times that we wanted to give up.
Well,
It's
yeah. I mean,
hard.
and
I mean, it's,
expensive. Horses, just, I
oh
don't know a
yeah.
whole lot about horses. I can tell you, don't make fun of me. I'm actually terrified of horses. I'm so scared of them. Like I run the opposite direction of horses, which is so embarrassing. So I really do need to come out and see what you guys are doing and get used to horses. It's like a fear I have to overcome. But I do know that horses, you know, a little cat can be expensive. We're talking about huge animals here that you obviously had to acquire, or I'm not sure your process. You'll explain it, but yeah, that had to be super expensive. What were you guys thinking when you were trying? So you're getting these horses into the barn that you're now leasing. I mean, like, what was the mindset there? Were you like, did we bite off more than we could chew, or how are you feeling?
I mean, Caroline, it's so much work. You have no idea. So once we got the first horse, then all the other, you start, it's word of mouth. People hear, oh, those people really are taking care. Ann and Jack are really taking care of those horses. You should go board your horse there. So before you know it, over the course of 7 years, we had, at one time we had, I think, 14, 15 horses that my husband and I are responsible for shoveling their manure, feeding them, buying their feed. I mean, every day. There's been no vacations, no fancy restaurants. I mean, I've just literally started wearing makeup to go out and speak in public.
So, but at the time your husband was working, you guys were both working
We
in
both
different
had full-time
careers.
jobs.
Do you still have full-time jobs?
No, no, he has since retired. So I'll just fast forward. In 2020, in the middle of the pandemic, that is when I was at the call center, and God said, Ann, it's time to start Rainbow of Hope. They had changed my schedule for the 100th time because there's nowhere to work out here. My background's a restaurant manager and was a therapist back when I was younger. And And I said, oh, okay. So, I didn't know the pandemic was happening, and it just happened like right after I had resigned. And then my husband was diagnosed with Parkinson's, and we didn't want to believe it at first in 2020. The tremors started. We thought it was from shoveling, because I've had frozen shoulder because we shovel manure so much, taking care of everything out here. Like I had a frozen shoulder from doing the same repetition for so many years, where my hand wouldn't raise. Like, see how my hand can raise? My hand was stuck like this for
Oh
6 weeks
Oh my
because it was
goodness.
just locked up. And then so a lady came out and she would do what's called conditioning the body, and she somehow fixed it. And before you know it, I could,
Wow.
I
Oh,
still
thank
don't have
goodness.
full, but it's
That's
crazy.
so crazy. Oh, wow.
So much
Oh
stuff
my
has
gosh.
happened, like Harvey. I mean, so many challenges. That's what I just want to really share with this conversation, is that you need to do things afraid. You need to do things when you don't think you're worthy, or when you don't think that you have the background and the education to do it. Because, God has a purpose and plan for each and every one of us. And trust me, this was not my plan. I had
That
no
is
idea I was going to live on a ranch, take care of all these horses, but here we are.
so so in your dream that you had years and years and years ago, it was you're going to start something called Rainbow of Hope and you're going to help an underserved group or a forgotten group of people. And from what I understand, you help disabled people.
Yeah, so my background is special ed, specifically autism. That was my passion. But we serve all disabilities. In the state of Texas, when kiddos with special age turn 22 years old, all public school stops, and there are hardly any programs for them. And so there are day habs out there, which are like a 5 day a week program that typically are run by government funding. And they may go, to bowling and do different activities and do all these things. But I wanted Rainbow of Hope to be a program where we're teaching skills, we're teaching job skills, we're teaching life skills, we're teaching social skills. Um, these kiddos are forgotten. And two things that I hear from parents of special needs is, one, what's going to happen to my child when I'm gone? And two, I want my child to be included in society. And that's what we do. We go to farmers markets, excuse me, we go to different, we volunteer at the food bank in Texas, in Angleton, a few times. We get them out there and get them utilizing and keeping those skills going. Because think about it. If you had a special needs child, and from birth to in their 20s, and you are running back and forth to therapies, music therapy, speech therapy, you're spending this money, you're making sacrifices. And when they get that magic number of 22, then what?
Yeah.
Something broken in the system. And so that is what Rainbow of Hope is designed for. So we partner. Well, let me back up. If it weren't for my husband depleting his retirement and turning a room in our barn into a classroom in 2020, when he was diagnosed with Parkinson's, we wouldn't be here right now, and neither would Rainbow of Hope. So there's a classroom in our barn that we turned into. It was just a junk room. And that's how we started. We had the classroom, and the young adults started coming over. We started teaching all these skills, even how to text, talk on a phone, all these different skills that special needs young adults do not know how to do. That's
So
what we do.
are you the one that's teaching?
Well, I started teaching by myself because it was just me, and with two kiddos, Jonathan and Abel. And they're the ones that started a Rainbow of Hope, because I didn't know what I was doing. Oh, I got to tell you a story. Oh my God, you're not
Yes.
going to believe this. Okay, I forgot. Yeah, so the other, okay, so about, let's see, 2021, I was shoveling manure in the front yard, and I didn't have my phone on me because I was shoveling because Jack had opened up in front of the lake for to make it a pasture. Jack's like, Ann, why are you mowing the grass? We can have the horses eat it. I'm like, okay. So I'm out there shoveling, and I'm talking to God, and I'm like, God, please show me a sign. I'm getting older. Jack's getting older. We just can't keep doing this. Something's got to give. But I didn't have my phone on me. I walked in the door in the kitchen. The phone rang. Guess who it was? It was Chelsea Edwards from Fox 26 telling me, Miss Ann, we've been watching you on Facebook, and we want to come out tomorrow and do the morning show on your ranch.
Oh my gosh.
What? You want to do what? And it's like, I asked God for a sign, and I needed some hope. And so I was jumping all around in my kitchen. I'm like, oh my God. So I just threw it all together. At the time, we were teaching soap making with Texas Made Soap. So I had the soap making people out there. I had the kiddos with the horses and all these things. I just put it all together like a producer.
Wow.
And we were on the morning show for all morning.
It's our morning show on Fox 26. It starts at 4 a.m. and it goes all morning long. We do 6-7 hours of news, and Chelsea is so fun and such the perfect person to have out there. I love that she called you.
Yeah, but it was I wanted to tell you that because I thought
that's so cool. So basically it's the day before, and we love to do this to people in local news. I don't know why, but in this case, I think God used Chelsea as a little sign to you. So we'll literally be like, yeah, can we be there in an hour, or can we be there bright and early tomorrow morning? So you just start throwing together all the resources that you guys have been using and had them all out there for.
Yeah. And in 2021, we were still wearing the mask. Everybody had masks on. But then we were blessed in 2022, they came out again, and we had no mask, and the program was growing. And that's why she wanted to come out, because she wanted to see how it's grown.
Totally. I just want people who maybe don't see the importance of local news. What did having Fox 26 out on the ranch showcasing what you guys are doing, how did that help you, and what did that do for the program?
It was amazing. We were able to get volunteers because we need volunteers. I had several families call me that saw the show and that wanted to come out. And I met a lot of amazing families that were looking for services. It was just an opportunity. When you have a nonprofit, it's so important that you get your mission out there. And for me, it is very difficult for me to leave this ranch. And that is why I was so grateful that you reached out, because in the early days, Voyage Houston, the online magazine that they have, or Canvas Rebel, that's how I got the word out about Rainbow of Hope, is by just getting the pictures and getting the story out, and then getting it online, getting in different magazines if you can. That's the most important thing about running a nonprofit, is getting your name out there. So to have Fox 26 out here, for 2 years in a row was huge for us.
And it's such a fun morning show too. I bet you guys were doing all kinds of things, which is I loved working. I never worked on our morning show here at Fox 26. I do the evening news here, but morning shows, they're special. They're fun because you get to meet people like you, Ann, and showcase these amazing nonprofits and people and organizations just doing such impactful work in the community. But I know since then you've even expanded your mission, and I believe I saw that you guys are now helping veterans.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, and that was those were the two demographic of people that I was to serve, was the aged out special needs community and veterans. And so I was like, okay, Lord, well, you want me to serve veterans, but I don't really know what that looks like. My dad was a lieutenant colonel in the Army, but that's not my, I don't know. And then so I just left it on my board because there's a Bible verse. It's Habakkuk 2:3, and it says, "Write your vision and make it plain." And I did. So I wrote that on my board that we were going to serve veterans as well. And then so what happened was one day I called a director at the Warriors Refuge in West Columbia who I'd met at a United Way meeting. And I said, look, we have an equine program out here. I was just wondering if your veterans would like to be a part of it. We really don't know what we're doing, but we want you guys to come out and experience being around the horses and the healing power that horses provide. And he said, Anne, would you believe that we just wrote a grant for equine therapy?
Oh my goodness.
And I was like, what? So now 2 days a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 10 to 12, they bus their veterans out to our ranch. And we have Dadiana, our equine therapist, our equine instructor, which, by the way, we're certified through Spirit Horse International. But she is phenomenal with these veterans. So we wrote a program specific for what they needed. But the program that we wrote can be used universal for anybody. So it's teaching soft skills, Caroline, like empathy, teamwork, leadership skills, active listening, just learning body awareness, and all these different things. It's just amazing. And that's another reason I was grateful you reached out to me, because we need to serve more veterans. And all they need to do is call me. Like we had, are you familiar with Camp Hope in Houston?
I'm not familiar with it, but I know what you're talking about.
So they came out the day of a graduation. This is an 8-week program. So every week we focus on a certain skill with the horses. And they came out and we just started this. We're about to wrap up group 2 of the 8-week session. So Camp Hope came out and vetted our program and fell in love with it. They're like, Anne, this is amazing. And they want to be part of it. But since they're so far away in Houston, they're going to do like 1 day a week for 4 hours. So they're working, though, on getting funding to be able to do that. So we're super grateful for them. But in the interim, we want other veteran organizations to be able to come out here so we can expand those days. I mean, we're only literally doing Tuesdays and Thursdays. We could do Monday and Wednesday and have another organization come out here.
So right now you're balancing bringing in groups of young adults and kids. They're kids too, right?
No, the kids are for the equine therapy only.
And then the veterans program. So you have this all laid out on different days of the week, I'm assuming, in different time slots. Yeah. Is that kind of how it works?
Yeah. So I have, and this was another God thing, I have an activities coordinator. Her name's Annette, and she was looking for a program for her special needs son, and she found us. And so she's taken over the special needs component of it. She produces a calendar every month, and then, we distribute that calendar. She comes up with all the ideas. We do pottery making now. We partner with Dawn's Pottery. Our young adults are learning how to make pottery, all these things. So that's her portion of it. And then my portion is focusing on the veterans. And what was the question you asked me?
Just kind of how it works, like your weeks, every single week. It's like every day of the week is just set time. Like yes. The veterans come on this day, this group comes, and it's just kind of
we're very organized.
Yeah.
We have calendars for veterans and calendars for special needs.
So I guess, what is a therapy horse? Like, what does that even mean?
A therapy horse is a horse that has been through a lot of training. So they know how to be able to adapt to any individual. They're trained for it. They're very patient. They're very kind horses. They're not, and we're with them all day, every day, these horses. So they have socialization 100% of the time. But these horses, they know, and they sense if there's a veteran with them, or if there's a special needs person on them, or anything like that.
Not every horse is a therapy horse that you have then? Is it only certain horses are therapy horses?
They are now. Over the course
Oh.
of the 7 years that we started boarding, all of those horses have been surrendered to Rainbow of Hope.
And so
All those boarding horses.
all the horses that you work with are all like people boarding their horses with you. Is that correct? Or
They're
how does
no
that
longer,
work?
we're no longer,
They're
have
no longer
boarding.
boarding.
All
Wow.
of those
So they're all
boarding
yours.
horses are now, they were donated to Rainbow of Hope.
Wow.
Yeah. So we need
Wow.
a lot of help. Like we need,
Yeah.
in the community, we need, like, help me get the name out, because when we first started, a bale of hay was $6 a bale. Guess how much it is now?
Oh, I wouldn't even.
$15
You're.
a bale.
Oh my gosh. Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not.
Ugh.
It's a very, very expensive equine therapy
Oh
feed.
my. How much?
All of it.
How much is the feed? Yeah, I bet the feed has gone up too.
Oh yeah, it's like, I don't know, 35
Mm.
minimum, I think, maybe.
And how many
My
do you still have
husband
the?
My husband takes care of buying that, so I don't really know a whole lot, but it's expensive. The whole thing's expensive.
And how many total horses do you all have?
Today we have 13.
Wow.
Mhm.
And it's just so mind-blowing. Like I can't believe you never knew anything about horses before you started this. I mean, this is truly a testament on how you can learn how to do anything you set your mind to. And how is your husband doing with his Parkinson's diagnosis?
He's on this patch, and he's on the highest dosage. You know, keeping him moving and getting out and working and being outside and having things that he has to do is what is keeping him going.
Yeah.
Does he have tremors? Yes.
I love that point about having a purpose and something to get up for and work for every day. There's a lot of people who obviously now depend on you. You guys have grown this nonprofit into, you said you have an activities leader. This is like a whole business that you have going on now. So now you have people working with you to make this all happen.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a ranch hand. We have,
Wow.
I've taught myself how to write grants, and we just recently found a grant writer. I was just literally returning a crock pot somewhere to an organization, and they said, "Oh, I've written grants for 20 years," and I'm like, "What?" So she's already submitted like 2 grants for us.
Wow.
So
That's
yeah.
amazing. Oh my goodness. For people who want to get in touch with you, volunteer, get involved, maybe they have someone in their life that would benefit from what you're doing, how can people find you?
I mean, literally, I'm all over the internet. They can go to Rainbow of Hope, Texas. They can, Thunder Hooves is the name of the Veterans Equine Program. I forgot to tell you that. So if they go to the Facebook for the veterans that way. But you can go to my email, director@rainbowofhopetexas.org, or you can call me. Like I said, my number's all over the internet, or you can private message me. I mean, I'm an open book.
I love that. And you've been doing so well getting your message out. I love that you messaged me and how open you were to talk. And like you said, for other people who are starting up important nonprofits, organizations, businesses, whatever, what's your biggest piece of advice to them? Because even starting this podcast was so much more work than I could have ever imagined. So what's your advice to people who are starting up? It doesn't even have to be a nonprofit, but just anything that they want to do.
Oh, I have the answer to that. Just start. Just take that first step and just start.
I love that. I mean, that my first episode was honestly disastrous, but I was like, if I don't just get this out here and get this rolling, it's never going to happen. So I love that advice. Also, for people wondering, I know that you are extremely in touch with your faith and with God, and you've had these clear visions. And a lot of people are faithful, but they don't have these clear visions like you had. What's your advice on the faith level and how to grow in your faith, trust in your faith, or just to realize that you're not crazy? This is really a sign from God when you saw rainbows of hope.
I'm going to be completely honest with you. No one's ever asked me this before, but I will tell you this. Had I not had that dream, Caroline, I mean, I'm a believer, and I believe that, that Jesus died for us and that we live on the earth to fulfill a purpose. But had I not had that dream all those years ago, I honestly don't know how bold my faith would be today. And that's a God's honest truth. It's one thing to go to church and to, try to be a good person and, all those things. But because of that dream that he gave me, it gave me something to hold on to, like to have purpose in life. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it definitely makes sense. And I think sometimes, even people in my family, like they have much clearer visions than I have. And I'm always like, God, can't you just show me like what I'm supposed to be doing here, But I think, every person experiences that in a different way. And in your case, it was like a dream and a very clear vision. Others, it might be a different experience, but I think he is giving us signs for sure. I believe that at least.
I mean, honestly, the fact that I'm on your podcast right now, I think you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing.
Oh, thank you. I love that. I really do love that.
It is such an honor. It literally was such an honor, Caroline.
No, it's an honor having you, that you even wanted to come on. I just love this. So what's your plan now? Where do you see Rainbow of Hope Texas going?
Well, we're growing out of our little room in the barn. I told you we're starting this pottery. We partner with Don's Pottery. Our young adults are making pottery. So we had to buy like a pastry rack, and we had to we had a kiln donated to us where they cook the pottery. So I feel like we're growing, so we need a building.
Wow. And I'm sure grants would help with that, but also donations, like anything would probably help you make that happen, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It'll happen.
Oh, my gosh.
God didn't bring us this far to just pull the rug out and say, just kidding. You've got
Are you ever? I know.
All this manure for no reason.
I know that this is, your dream, what you saw and what you wanted to do, but are there ever moments that you're just like, what did I get myself into? This is crazy.
Oh, yeah. 100%. I mean, even starting a nonprofit, not knowing what I was doing.
Yeah.
I had to make a lot of hard decisions and tough decisions along the way, because your organization has to continue to evolve. And if I can give some advice on that, people that you put on your board for a nonprofit need to be passionate, just as passionate as you are, because this is my life. And I need people on my team that are right there with me, because if they're not, then it's time to move on regardless of,
Well, congratulations. I truly am. I'm so impressed with Rainbow of Hope. I cannot wait to come out to the ranch and see how everything's done. I'm going to pitch the story. I just can't say enough. Thanks so much for getting in touch with me. I think this is such a great story. I'll definitely put links to your website and social media in the show notes and on social media and everywhere possible, so that everybody can find you, make a donation, get involved, whatever may have you. I'm just so thrilled that I got to talk to you and hear this incredible story. It's been so much work for you, and it's just a great message to have on my podcast. It's all about empowering any person, but especially women. That means a lot to me, and you're working so hard. So I hope this motivates some people and just inspires them to go out and do what it is they feel called to do. So Anne, it was so nice meeting you. I really hope we meet in person soon.
How do you do that?
Oh, I know, the little hearts. Yes.
Hey, Caroline, thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Anne. Rainbow of Hope, Texas, everyone. Check it out. Thank you so much for joining me on Big Bites. Make sure to like and subscribe to the podcast so I can keep these inspirational and motivating conversations going. I love having you here, and remember, you deserve a seat at the table.